Hi everyone, in this video we are going to look at Wet n Wild's Fire and Ice collection. Specifically, I purchased the Fire and Ice collection box, which includes most of the items that are in the entire collection, but not everything. So as you can see here, there are loose pigments, there are liquid catsuit colors for the lips, highlighters, eyeshadow palettes, and bronzers. I think there's an extra bronzer, an extra highlighter, maybe 2 additional eyeshadows, 2 additional pigments, and 2 additional catsuit shades, I believe. Something to that effect in the entire collection. So this box is available through Ulta, and it costs $39.99. It's a $61 value, so you're definitely getting your money's worth, but it doesn't include every single item that is included in the entire collection. It includes most of the things in the collection. The description says, awake your inner dragon and immerse yourself in a song of ice and fire with this Wet n Wild Fire and Ice collection box that includes limited edition shades of liquid lipsticks, eyeshadows, loose pigments, highlighters, and bronzers. Cheeks, eyes, and lips are given heat and frost with new products that mimic the cool and warm tones of the two dragons. Choose to be fiery with smoldering warm colors or embrace the metallic icy tones of blue and silver. So this collection definitely evokes some Game of Thrones type of feeling, and I think that's the allure for a lot of people. In this video, I will go ahead and swatch all of the colors for you so that you can see what they look like or get an idea of what they look like on the skin, and I'll give you my impressions of what the quality of the products is. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. We consistently run giveaways on this channel, so in order to be eligible, you do need to be subscribed. The handle to Allura Beauty's Instagram account is also in the description box, along with the link to where you can purchase this collection box if you're interested, and link to the blog sale if you want to purchase anything from there, and a link to Ebates so that you can get some cash back on any online purchase that you make. Alright, let's get looking at all of the items in Wet n Wild's Fire and Ice collection box, exclusively online at Ulta. So hopefully you can tell this left side here are the items from the Fire portion of the collection, and the more cool tone blue toned items on the right side are from the Ice section of the collection. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch these products by type of product. So I will do the powder face products, then the eyeshadow palettes, then the pigments, and lastly the lip colors. So let's start with the 2 bronzers from the Fire section and the 2 highlighters from the Ice section. The first bronzer shade is called Your Dragon Me Down. And as you can see, the bronzers have a dragon embossed on the pan. The second shade is called Queen's Land. And I just want to show you side by side because might be a little difficult to tell unless they are side by side what the difference is. Your Dragon Me Down is a cooler toned shade, and Queen's Land is a more warm yellow reddish shade. And then the first highlighting shade is called Winter Falls in LA. Beautiful looking duochrome frost and blue. And the second shade is called Halo Walkers, which also appears to be a duochrome shade of like a silver and a blue. So we start with the bronzing shade Your Dragon Me Down. I'm using an angled powder brush to apply this. Applying a few layers here. It is building up, but it does need to be layered a little bit here. On the skin, this looks like a pretty neutral, very subtly bronzy shade. The second bronze shade is Queen's Land. This one shows up better than the first bronzing shade, still needing to layer it a little bit. And hopefully you can see the distinction between these 2 shades, where this one is more yellow toned. Although the first shade doesn't come off really cool toned like I thought it would from the pan, this comes off more reddish, so still maybe a neutral to slightly warm. It's not really that warm. The Queensland shade is definitely more yellow based. Like I said, the shimmer is pretty subtle, so you might be able to get away with using this maybe as a contour if you are not under bright lights. All right, next up is the highlighting shade Winter Falls in LA. It's a really nice subtle glow there if that's what you want. I'm gonna build it up to be more intense for those who would want an even stronger payoff. This is definitely a light frosty shade with a blue flash. And then we have Halo Walkers. This is really interesting because this comes off as a really frosty shade with a bluish flash to it when put next to the first highlighting shade. Now this looks like something that's a cream base with a green flash next to the second shade. So very interesting. Again, applies really nicely with just one layer, but you can add a second to build up the finish. Okay, so there are your two highlighter shades, swatched next to each other. And those are the face powder products, swatched with a powder brush. And just for comparison, I'm going to do heavy swatches. So we'll do the two bronzers first, side by side. Hopefully you can see there better the cool toned and warm toned nature of them. And then the two highlighters next to each other. But you could use these two easily as eyeshadows if you wanted to. All right, so there are your powder face products with heavy swatches. Next up, we're going to swatch the two eyeshadow quads. This quad is called Fit for a Queen. And here we have Mythical Creatures. All right, starting with the transition shade in the Fire palette, followed by the eyelid shade. All these are very warm toned, especially this bronzy gold. Next is the crease shade, which is a matte terracotta brown. This is the brow bone shade, which is a duochrome of silvery gold with a base of pink. Then we move on to the transition shade from the Ice palette, followed by the eyelid shade, which is a glittery purple duochrome with a blue flash. It's a very pretty color, but it's kind of chunky, so I'm gonna layer a second layer and use more of a dabbing motion. And then we have the crease shade, which is a more subtly metallic navy blue. And last is the brow bone color, which is a satin cream shade. All right, so there are the two quads swatched. We have the one from the Fire side of the collection, two mattes and two metallics. And from the Ice side of the collection, one matte and three somewhat shimmery shades. All right, then we have two loose pigments from the Fire side and two from the Ice side. This is what the packaging looks like. And they twist off and you have a little sifter with a cap on it. The first shade is Gilded Crown, followed by Fire Rain, then Ice Ice Lady, and then Two Nights Blue. First I'm swatching Gilded Crown, which is a coppery bronze. It's hard to tell when dumping out of the sifter how much product you need, so I think I just didn't really pick up enough product. So I'm going to add a little more to build up the color. Next up is Fire Rain, which is a nice maroon. Next is Ice Ice Lady. This is a really metallic silver with a hint of silvery blue to it. And last is Tonight's Blue, which is a metallic navy blue. Alright, here are your 4 loose pigment shades. Like I said, it's a little difficult to gauge how much powder you need to dispense, but you can gauge for yourself how much you want to apply. And last up, we're going to take a look at the 4 Megalast Liquid Catsuit Metallic Lipsticks. And I think it's really cool that the 2 from the Fireside have flames and are in a gold shade, and then the one from the Ice side of the collection, they're blue and have little icicle designs on them. This shade is Redlings, Queen's Blood, Shall We Slay, and Icing on the Wall. Here's the shade Redlings swatched. This is a deep maroon with a slightly brighter reddish orangish shimmer or flash. Queen's Blood is a really like orangish brown shade. Shall We Slay is a smoky gray. And Icing on the Wall is a slightly kind of dusty blue. All right, those are your 4 liquid metallic lip shades. Alright, so there's Wet n Wild's Fire and Ice collection box. If you like most of the things in the box, it's definitely worth your money because you're paying $40 for something that's worth more than $60. I think personally the most disappointing or least impressive part of the box are the liquid metallic lipsticks. The first 2 shades, the Fire shades, are shades that have very similar shades that have been promoted before. I don't think they're exactly the same, but we have seen that reddish and orangish brown shade or something very similar to those shades promoted in prior collections. And then the ones from the Ice side are just not very wearable. I don't see many people really wearing those on a consistent basis. I would say the next step to be least impressive are the pigments, just because I thought they could be more vibrant, more pigmented. But I do think that the eyeshadow palettes and the highlights and the bronzers were really nice. Even though the bronzers took a little bit of layering, I think they're going to look really beautiful and soft on the skin, and the fact that they aren't like super pigmented in your face will make them really nice to use. The most impressive of everything, I think, are the highlighters. They just looked really beautiful on the skin. They blended really nicely. They layered nicely also, and they have a unique finish to them. So those are overall my thoughts on this collection. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. I hope that this was helpful to you if you saw this box and were interested. I'm pretty sure that this will eventually sell out through Ulta, so if you are interested at all in the box, I would encourage you to go ahead and buy it before it is gone. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you in the next one.